Let's get the latest in the World Cup action with James Vicina and Andreas Evagora. Welcome to both of you. James, let's start with that game and Spain's success as they made it through to the quarterfinals with that goal against Portugal.
Took a bit of time to come. It really wasn't easy between the two sides there. Indeed, making it through at stoppage time, getting for Spain the most opportunities, but they did have to rely on a late substitution to finally find the net. It was Mikel Merino who came on for Dani Olmo in the 85th minute. And 6 minutes later, as the game seemed to be heading towards extra time, the Arsenal man scored the one and only goal off a forward pass from Ferran Torres. 1-0, meaning that Spain pick up a 5th clean sheet at the tournament and are now unbeaten in their last 35 games. Andreas, they haven't let in a single goal so far in the World Cup. They're the only side to have done so. South Africa had a great record. They have left now, but I mean, they are the only ones there who've had a perfect defence so far, and that is so important in a tournament.
Oh, defensively, they've been brilliant. And yesterday, I think the name of the game was patience, because I really couldn't see a goal coming. It was not easy on the eye, this game. There wasn't really a lot to report, but Spain just kept going. They kept playing their game as they do. And a word for Mikel Merino, who, when he was picked for Spain, he wasn't even fit. He's been injured almost all of 2026. So Spain took a real punt on choosing the Arsenal man. The last couple of weeks, he's worked really hard to get fit. Came on and scored a really smart goal. I liked it because he got fouled, he took the free kick quickly and he finished it off. He's a really intelligent player and one that's gone under the radar a bit. But Spain, apart from France, to me, they're the favourites for this tournament. They've been excellent.
It wasn't easy, though, for Spain in that, as you mentioned. Let's hear from Rodri, who had this to say about the game.
If anyone thinks we're going to win the World Cup without suffering, they're mistaken. We're going to suffer in every match. These are the best national teams in the world. There are moments when you have to stay compact, moments when they create chances, and other moments when you have to threaten the opposition. I can tell you that, in my view, the team has shown the kind of maturity that is crucial for winning this tournament.
Yeah, so not easy from them there. Portugal definitely did put in a fight, unsuccessful one in the end. What did you make of them? I thought Nuno Mendes was particularly good. I mean, he cancelled out Lamine Yamal. Threat from him. Was there anyone else in there who impressed you on the Portuguese side?
Portugal didn't do anything too wrong. I mean, it was one of those kind of games. It was very cat and mouse. But sorry, we have to come back to Ronaldo. What they lacked was a centre forward. And, Portugal, we're sitting in Paris now. 4 Paris Saint-Germain European champions are Portuguese. 3 of them played. And the one that I probably think is the most important didn't play. Ramos, who's a world-class centre-forward. He's just gone to Milan for 60 million euros. Sat on the bench while Ronaldo plays. And I really think that was the difference, because I think that could have been the difference if Ramos had started that game.
So what have you got to say to the manager, Portugal's manager, who said that he defended his case for starting Ronaldo in there, saying that if I've got Ronaldo, I've got to start him, is what he said. He's got to play the 90 minutes. He's got to go in there. What would you say to him?
I would say, look, there's a newsflash. Football is a team game. And if you're really focused on one player, if you've got Haaland or if you've got Mbappe, fair enough. But with all respect to Ronaldo, who's like the Mick Jagger of football, he goes on and on. He just doesn't have the legs, and you just can't play someone like that. But this is this star system we were talking about. So much of this World Cup is about celebrities and star players, which is fine if your player is doing it. Ronaldo did nothing. Kubasi and Laporte just had him in their pocket. It was one of the easiest round of 16 World Cup games those two Spanish centre-backs will ever have. I think it was just a couple of shots on goal, and Spain were never really troubled.
So it does make you wonder, though, because Ronaldo, 3 goals in this World Cup. 2 of those, one of those was on a penalty. That was his first goal in a knockout round ever, in a knockout game in the World Cup. 2 of the other goals came up against Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
You say that you needed the centre-forward, you needed that strength there. Is it too harsh to say that these are the decisions that have cost Portugal their place in the World Cup? Is the decision to play Ronaldo, did Ronaldo cost them that because he had to just be on the pitch?
I think it's a big part of it. I just couldn't see them winning with Ronaldo on the pitch. It doesn't mean they would definitely win with Ramos on the pitch, but it was just too easy for Spain. The problem is if your centre forward is not that mobile, not doing too much, it puts so much pressure on the wingers, and it's much easier for Spain to control that Portugal attack, and they were quite blunt, and the only way I could see them winning was on penalties. Look, Ronaldo's been a phenomenal player. He's a
which is why we
superstar.
can criticise where he's got to this place.
No one is doubting that, but he's well into his 40s, and there does come a time where at the top level he scored against Uzbekistan, and he's more than capable of scoring against teams of that level. You're talking about the best defence in the world. You need your best forwards, and Ronaldo's not one of them.
All right, well, let's hear from Ronaldo, who announced his retirement from international football, confirmed that would be his final World Cup. Here he is.
It was a very balanced match. It could have gone either way, in my opinion. Spain had that little bit of luck to score right there in the final moments. I'm naturally sad about exiting the World Cup, but like I said, I gave everything. I gave my best, and I leave with a clear conscience. This is football. This is the life of a footballer. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and you have to keep going.
So with that loss for Portugal, Spain will now face Belgium in the quarterfinals after that clear win against the United States.
Indeed, Jeannie, 4-1 for Belgium. That comes, of course, amid all the controversy generated by FIFA and by Donald Trump, who interfered in refereeing decisions in the US's previous game. Before we go any further with that, here's Selena Sykes with the latest from the United States.
For many football fans, this was about more than just a place in the quarterfinals at the World Cup, but about the integrity of football itself. Folarin Balogun was in the starting lineup for the US after FIFA's decision to overturn his red card at the request of Donald Trump. But that decision gave the Red Devils of Belgium an extra fire in their belly as they beat the US 4-1 in Seattle. Balogun, who was the US's top scorer at the World Cup, was pretty much invisible for that game. That was completely dominated by Belgium, with Charles de Ketelaere scoring a double and Hans van Aken scoring a third after Belgium were handed a goal, gifted a goal after a big blunder from the US keeper before Romelu Lukaku, Belgium's all-time top scorer, rounded off that victory with a fourth goal in stoppage time. The US, who had perhaps grown a little bit too accustomed to facing lesser opponents so far at this World Cup, did not turn up for their encounter. They were definitely caught sleeping in Seattle as Belgium progressed to the knockout stages against Spain, while Balogun, through no fault of his own, has become a controversial figure at this World Cup after that unprecedented decision by FIFA.
That decision, indeed, that we will not forget. Let's just, before we go any further, hear from Mauricio Pochettino, the manager for the United States, to hear what he had to say about how whether that decision ahead of the game impacted their performance on the pitch. Here he is.
It's difficult to make a comment. I think we were not good enough today. We don't need to find another excuse, or I think we were not good enough. Wasn't our day. We didn't perform in the way that we supposed to perform or show it our quality. But I think all that was happening was around, but I think it wasn't a situation that affect us on the group.
How's it, I mean, to put yourself in his position, can you believe that it didn't affect them in the team? I mean, of course he says, I mean, and the performance wasn't good, but everything that happened inside, can you just focus on your team and the game to come when all of that is happening around you?
During the game, I thought Balogun probably could. I thought they could put it behind him and just concentrate on the game. The key moment for me was after, when as soon as the whistle went, Balogun's head was down and he went straight to the Belgian coach, Rudi Garcia, and sort of apologetically, and Garcia put his hand over his shoulder. It was quite a nice gesture. So that made me think actually it probably did have an impact, because that's quite unusual to see that at the end of a game. And Rudi Garcia did explain that he went to Balogun and said, it's not your fault, all this stuff. So I'm beginning to think it probably did have an impact. He had one chance that he missed. It's enormous pressure on a guy who's still quite inexperienced. You know, Balogun, he's talked about as, you know, USA's big star, but he doesn't have that much experience at the top level. He plays here in France with Monaco. So I hope it doesn't affect his career. But we should talk about Belgium. De Ketelaere was superb. He's an interesting player. He was seen as like the next big thing in Belgian football. It didn't quite work out for him. He's playing well now for Atalanta in Italy. And they're a very solid union. I think the problem for the United States is they don't quite have that experience and the number of games against really solid European teams.
I mean, the
Belgium
defence
are one of them.
was very, very bad for the United States.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it cost them everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it's that third goal from the
third goal was horrible. I mean, it was just they say about goalkeepers, if goalkeepers could play football, they wouldn't be goalkeepers. That's something Rudi Garcia used to say. I thought of that when I saw that. And it was poor defending. But Belgium,
Did you see they're growing into the tournament because they started it off pretty slowly. They had that game, the draw against Egypt, the draw again after that. Do you think they're growing into this tournament one game after another?
I think so. For smaller teams, the players know each other. They've been pretty much in the same camp for many years. But the coach has got the courage to drop De Bruyne, for instance, who's their kind of star player, and he's going to pick the best players, which is maybe something that some other coaches should take note. Leo Trossard has been outstanding on the left, made a goal or two yesterday. So they're going to be very, very hard to beat, but they're up against Spain in the quarters. That's a very big test.
Big test to come. Well, moving away from the pitches, France's President Emmanuel Macron has weighed in as France's captain, Kylian Mbappe, responded to racist insults from a senator in Paraguay. This after Mbappe and his team beat Paraguay on Saturday. Here's more from Delano de Souza.
France's captain trains at his latest practice session in Massachusetts on Monday. But under Kylian Mbappe's positive demeanour looms a vile and racist online attack. This following France's win over the weekend when Mbappe refused to shake hands with Paraguay's goalkeeper following their aggressive performance on the pitch. Paraguayan Senator Celeste Amarilla took to X to call the French captain a brute who didn't learn to write, adding Mbappe sucked on coconuts instead of mother's milk. She called the 27-year-old who was born in Paris a colonized Cameroonian who was pretending hard to be French. Hours later, Mbappe took to X to respond, calling the senator a despicable woman who was unworthy of her position. He added that her racism has made the world forget the historic journey Paraguay had during the World Cup. Mbappe has received swift support from the French Football Federation, who says it's filed a report with the Public Prosecutor's Office and is exploring possible legal avenues. France's assistant coach also came to Mbappe's defense.
In 3 words, it's shameful, despicable, scandalous.
France's president has weighed into the spat, saying Mbappe had scored another goal with his reply. The dust-up, however, looks unlikely to quieten down, with the Paraguayan senator putting out a new statement on X saying Mbappe's arrogance started well before the match. Amarilla even threatened to file a lawsuit of her own if she doesn't receive an apology from France's captain.
I think, just like we probably can't expect Mbappe to respond to that second message, I think there's nothing more to say about it. I mean, everything has just been said there. Very surprising to see in any case.
Absolutely. All right, the next game, the last games of the round of 16 are actually coming up today. Let's take a look. Argentina, the heavy favorites in their fixture against Egypt. But remember that the world champs struggled against Cape Verde, and their opponents today will be attempting to get further than they ever have been before at the World Cup. The winner of that game will face either Switzerland or Colombia, so a match of the minnows to finish the round off.
And with that, I'm wondering how much of a chance is there that we might see 2 South American sides make it through?
I think there's a very good chance. I don't think Egypt have got enough up front. Here we go talking about stars again. Mo Salah, maybe the best African player there's ever been, but I think he's just lost that yard of pace, and I think Argentina will be strong enough. Colombia, Switzerland's going to be really close. I've been impressed with Switzerland. They're a really good unit. They're hard to break down. But, some people talked at the beginning of this tournament about how world football was levelling up. It's been exactly the opposite. This is dominated by Europe. It's almost like
because now we're at this stage and we've basically got only, for the next round, apart from we've got Morocco going through, but we've got Europeans.
Of the 6 quarterfinalists, 5 are from Europe. It's almost like European Championships being played in the States. Obviously, that will change a little bit today. But it would be good if there's some South American representation. I think Colombia will just squeeze through. But I wouldn't...
They've got what's to get past very determined and pretty solid Switzerland sides.
I think so. I mean, Luis Diaz is a fantastic player, and I think he might be the key
biggest threat.
Probably the best player on the pitch. That might be a threat. And I think they could really do something against Argentina. I wouldn't necessarily bet on Argentina getting to the semis.
Okay, well, the good thing is that those games are taking place earlier on today, so we'll all be able to enjoy them. 6 p.m. Paris time starts then, and then we'll have a good rest, unlike
previous
the last nights. And as always, a word for fellow journalist Christophe Glaise before we leave, who remains imprisoned in Algeria after his reports on a football team over their 2 years and counting over in Algeria. So a word, as every day, for Christophe Glaise just there. We'll leave everything just there for now, Ginny.
James, thank you so much. Andreas, thank you so much. And thanks to you for watching France 24. Stay with us.